Hey everyone, Ryan Eckert here with Peak Endurance Solutions. In this video I'm going to take a little bit of time to go over how you can practice sighting in the pool. So sighting is obviously something that is primarily used for swimmers swimming in open water, but it's a pretty basic skill that you can also practice in the pool, and I oftentimes encourage athletes to work it into their swim sets as they approach races that are going to involve open water swimming. So for triathletes who are getting ready to go out and race, and that race involves open water swimming, I'll oftentimes work sighting into their main sets in the months leading up to some of their races, especially for those athletes who might find it difficult to get to open water, whether it's due to the simple fact that you don't have open water venues close to you that you can swim at, or it's just too difficult to travel to and from open water swim venues so that you can actually get out and practice some of these skills. So obviously there are some skills that you can really only practice out in open water, but there are some, such as sighting, that you can very easily practice in the pool. So what I like to do as far as sighting is, when you're working in sighting while swimming at a pool, I like to practice sighting off something. Obviously in open water you're going to be sighting off of buoys for the most part, but you can get used to sighting off of landmarks, or you can sight the pace clock. You can sight just about anything. You can even set up your bag at like one end of the pool and a couple water bottles next to it that you can just practice sighting off of. The point is, you just want to practice sighting off of something, and then you also want to practice sighting with good form and technique. And so as far as the form and technique goes for sighting, I like to describe sighting to my athletes as alligator eyes. So just think of alligator eyes. So obviously if you've seen an alligator before, you know that they sight, or that they see where they're going by just having their eyes up out of the water. And that's kind of what you want to look like when you're sighting. You want to just be lifting your head enough so that your forehead and your goggles are out of the water, and then every time you sight, you're just taking a quick snapshot of the environment around you. And so you'll see when I play this video that I'm sighting a few times in a row, and I normally like to encourage that too. You're not just sighting once and expecting to get everything you need to see in that one time that you sight. Oftentimes you can sight 2 or 3 or 4 times in a row, and each time you're sighting, you're kind of taking in a little bit and a little bit more each time. And then over the course of those 2, 3, or 4 sights in a row, you've kind of got that picture of what's going on out in front of you, and you've hopefully readjusted the direction you're heading in if you needed to. But as far as the sighting goes, I'll show you what it looks like when done correctly and when it's worked in seamlessly with the stroke. So again, you want to lift the head up just enough so that you're getting the forehead and the goggles out of the water, not necessarily lifting the entire face out of the water, or even sometimes the whole head and the chest, because the more you lift up, the more your backside's going to drop, and the more that's going to slow you down. And so that becomes even more important if you're sighting often with really poor form. Then it's going to be slowing you down pretty significantly over the course of a race in open water. And I also like to encourage athletes to sight before they breathe. It just tends to make it work a little bit more seamlessly with their swim stroke, and you'll see an example of what that looks like right here when I play this video. But the key points to remember when sighting is alligator eyes, so just getting the goggles up out of the water and taking that sight in before you roll to your side to take your breath. Just tends to work best that way. So go ahead and play the video for you so you can see what it looks like. So you're going to see I sight and then breathe, sight and then breathe. And then let's go back and take a quick look at that. So right here, I go ahead and I sight, and again, just my goggles, not necessarily my entire face, and then I go and turn into my breath, right? So the only thing, if I wasn't sighting, the only thing that would be different is I wouldn't lift my head up, right? But my swim stroke, I would still go and take my breath right here. So you see it works in pretty seamlessly into my swim stroke. And then I go to breathe. Okay, so key here again, remember, is alligator eyes, so just the goggles are up. Take in one snapshot there, take my breath, take in another snapshot there, take my breath, and then I continue on with my swim stroke from there. Right, so basics of sighting, remember, I like to use the analogy of alligator eyes. That's kind of a good cue to help remind you to think of just lifting the goggles up out of the water, and then the goal is to try and work it in seamlessly with the rest of your swim stroke so that you can sight over and over and over again and not have it disrupt your body position too significantly in the water. So I like to encourage athletes to take their breath before, or to sight before they take their breath, as I find it just tends to work best. And those are really the two main take-home points as far as sighting goes. And again, sighting, even though it's primarily used in open water, you're not really going to be using it in the pool because you're following a black line. It's definitely a really basic skill that you can practice in the pool, and so I encourage you to practice it in the pool fairly frequently, especially if you do a lot of racing out in open water. It's just going to make you that much more efficient at it when it comes time to actually go do it out in open water. So hopefully you found this video helpful as it relates to sighting. If you have any questions as far as sighting goes, feel free to shoot me an email at peakenduranceSolutions@outlook.com. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video.